What's happening, guys? What's happening? Back with another, you know what I'm saying, another lecture, you know what I'm saying, and a new, just discovering, getting through some more misconceptions and some really paradigm shattering concepts that even even I wasn't aware to before I found this information on the different forums through the ethers and everything. And this lecture in particular is kind of spawning off of the Americo lecture. This will be another segment to that one, right? The All Laws Prevail. That was the one where I was like reading that book and stuff and everything, or reading a couple articles asking different revelations and stuff like that. But we're gonna reveal some very shocking theories, and it's really gonna take concentration and focus to understand and grasp how America was founded, where it came from, and the other half of the story that they don't ever tell nobody. Because if they did tell us, then we would be aware to the consciousness and the paradigm that exists already, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, I'm gonna get these disclaimers out here, and then we're gonna hit this meditation real quick to bring good energy throughout this intergalactic highway and everything for the viewers and the audience, you know what I'm saying? But disclaimer one, I'm not a hate group, I'm just seeking for the truth, and I'm uncovering the truth. Different misconceptions, different lies that the oppressors and the government have perpetuated, and they are still continuing to do these type of benign acts and stuff. But as always, you can't stop the energy from rising, because the information comes from within, and then you seek without, you know what I'm saying, different tools and forms to be able to do that and stuff. Disclaimer number two, I don't judge nobody, you know what I'm saying? I don't judge preferences, you know what I'm saying? You could like what you like, I could like what I like, but in the same sense, don't force me to like something. Don't force me to agree with something if I'm not attracting to it, right? I'm not gonna, if I see a female, I'm not gonna call it a man, right? It's a female, okay? Males and females. That's just to stop to get the transhumanism agenda out of my paradigm, right? Because I feel like that's something that these politicians and lobbyists are trying to take advantage of and do their own agenda with that, trying to distract public from what's really afoot and what they're trying to do in the future, right? Disclaimer three, you know what I'm saying? If you don't like what I have to say, or you disagree with it, feel free to not watch the video, okay? But I encourage all people of all backgrounds to really be in this university and discover some of the truths that are really out there, so you could take advantage of the knowledge and direct your life as is, without, you know I'm saying, before coming across these different topics as other lectures I've done already, right? I think that pretty much sums up everything. But what, you know what I'm saying, I got a Josie here with me, you know what I'm saying, really to knock down all the deceitful energy and for the reigning energies above, right? But we're about to hit this quick meditation, then we're gonna get into this lecture. It is going to be a deep one. It's going to really cover how the United States of America government was formed, when it started, why it started, what makes up the branches of governments we now have today, some of the corruption that goes on. We'll be getting into the revolving door, which is, we'll get into that later, but you know what I'm saying, without further ado, let's hit this meditation real quick, right? Peace to the ancestors, you know what I'm saying? Peace to the elders 60 and above, you know what I'm saying? They work through me, and I'm a vessel to help people learn, to help people learn this information, because I know there was a point in time where I didn't know this, but without further ado, just feel the music for what it is, you feel me? All right, y'all.
If you're
Forget that, but yeah. And don't hearing the drums and everything, don't it take you back to the roots, low key though, like the roots? Cause think about it like this: the roots are within, right? I'm saying if you take a picture of some lungs, right? You see it has roots, it has branches, it flows, right? When you breathe in the air, the roots that are in the ground, the roots that are in the ground are larger than the branches you see sprouting out, right? But that's important to remember, because it's not just a tree, you know what I'm saying? This whole forearm has roots. It's not just a tree with the branches, right? I say that to say it's important to remember where we are in Amexem, right? And you know what I'm saying, with that being said and stuff, we about to hop into this lecture. Now, a lot of people, or I should say, a lot of people were taught, even I was taught this, that America had became a government in 1776, which is false. They gained their independence in 1776 because the Sultan of Morocco recognized them as their own active state, their own active economy amongst each other. They didn't become an official government until 1781. So from 1774 to 89, they didn't have the three branches of government. It was acting as a continental Congress, and it had 55 representatives from the 13 original colonies that I showed you guys in another video. I'm about to show y'all a map of these colonies so y'all can get the visual of what it looks like. Alright, here we go. Y'all can see this. Hold on. So the 13 colonies consisted of Rhode Island. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right. Those were the 13 original territories that they had conquered when they came over here the second time, right? Because first, Christopher Columbus, he landed in Cuba, and he he landed in Cuba, but they were kind of fought off. Like, they was spearing them, and then they left, right? Then they came back over on the northern coast, on the northern part of the East Coast, and they started to colonize through the bottom part of the East Coast. And that's where the whole because before those 13, well, I should say, when those 13 territories were a stronghold, everything else to the west still belongs to, well, all the territories belong to aboriginals, but steps and discharges have to be enacted before people can claim back their estate. Because right now, people, well, I should say aboriginals who are a 3/5 of a possession in the service corporation, they're a possession, they're a lien. If you look up what a lien is, something that is a possession, right? But a lien literally spells alien. Okay, I know we're gonna need to focus in this lecture right here, because it's probably gonna be the foreground of history, right? Because before, like y'all saw in the other lecture, from Canada all the way to the bottom of South America, the Western Hemisphere was Aborigine land, but the colonizers had came up in or the Europeans had came up in the northern east part, and the Sultan of Morocco, which was a Moor, he had recognized them as a state, or as territories, so they could trade and barter um, between the Moors and the Europeans. This is when the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was um, was enacted throughout the lands. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, right? That really drawed out acts, rules, regulations, articles for the civics, and how people would carry themselves in accordance to international law, right? Because there's two nations. Okay, there's two nations within the one continent of North America. Okay, are you hearing me though? Are you hearing me though? This isn't just United States of America, right? And this is also the Moroccan state empire. Okay, there are two nations within this landmass that people live on. So that's why the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, was created. And then later the Bill of Rights, which was drafted by Moors. The Moors wrote the first 10 amendments of the Constitution. I know a lot of people didn't know this, but it's true. Um, along with some other Europeaners, right? But and they wrote the 10 Bill of Rights so that Moors wouldn't get violated west of the 13 states, right? West of the 13 colonies, and later they would add their own after the first 10 was drafted, signed. European sons would add the 17, the 17 other amendments, which allowed them to take hold of different other territories: Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Illinois, Indiana, the rest, so forth to the west, right? And today, in present day, in the Union States of America, there are only 48 territories now, because Alaska and Hawaii are no longer a part of the Union States, right? So really, there's only 48 stars. I don't know how long it'll take them to update their flag. Um, who knows? But they really don't want a lot of people to know this, because if they see that two territories had claimed their sovereignty, then other states would start to would start to follow suit, right? And they would start to be like, if they did it, then we could live off our free land, which they were already doing prior to 1492, right? And it's I mean, through a list of events, I get why. I mean, I guess I could get why they did that, but I don't get um, why that knowledge wasn't taught to different people, right? Because in school they don't tell you the full story. In your programming centers, they don't tell you the full story. Because that's what school is. It's an education program center. Sounds similar to adjudication for a reason, and that's just me connecting a dot for a friend, right? Adjudication, you could look that word up for yourself if you want. It just means, basically, it means programming someone to be docile, kind of. Long story short, but we got a map of present day in Mexico, and I'm about to show you guys the 13 territories that was claimed and recognized by the Sultan of Morocco, who was the ruler of everything towards the west of that time period. There's more to that, but that's just a rough summary of the different territories towards the west. So this is, I'll start here at the top. Okay, 1, New Hampshire. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Here is the Atlantean realm. This is the capital of Atlantis. And you can see this right here is where the electrical currents and the nomos, which is really as I told you all before, it's an underwater stronghold of a society that is way more powerful than people on land. They might resurface in the future. Time will tell. But this above this shelf, because Florida was an unconquered territory. The Florida Seminole Wars, unconquered territory. So basically, this eastern coast, up and down here, except for Vermont, Maine, were belonged to the colonizers, the Europeans. Now, the 35 Moors that were part of the Continental Congress came from New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and those were the I should say the spokesperson for the Mormon, in accordance to drafting the whole Bill of Rights, Treaty of Friendship, and the assembly that was in the making of, or I should say, the conjoining of the two parties. Okay. If you wanna get a deeper context on that, I suggest you look up the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott, DREDSCOTT, right? And I mean, I could probably cover that in a later, but for now, I just want to stay on topic. No, you might be wondering what happened to the Moors that were in the 13 colonies. It's important to understand that not every Moor that was in the 13 territories was a slave. Because if you had your papers, which would often you would hear them say, "Where are your papers? Show me your papers." This, that. If you had your papers, you would show them your papers, say, "Hey, I'm a Moor," or "I'm a free man." And sometimes, and it sucks too, because sometimes that wouldn't even be enough, because then they would take your papers and ship you to a different part. That's where you get the Salem witch trials from. They would ship you to a different part of the coast, and then you would no longer be able to prove that you indeed were your sovereign being, right? But that was the Salem witch trials. That's where it comes from. And the Salem witch trials is about us. It's about Aboriginals, I should say. But the North and the South, they were kind of more. I should say more Aboriginals was kind of in the South than in the North, because they started to migrate towards the South as they got pushed away from their homeland, like as part of the migration, right? And this created a conflict for the North and the South, because this presented a problem for which states would have more control over, which territories would have more control over the federal powers instead of just state local powers. And this is where you get the 3/5 compromise from, right? The North didn't want this, or I should say the northern territories didn't want every possession, every alien, every chattel to be counted as one person, because then the South would be able to make all the federal like legislation in order to do what the South wanted, right? But then again, the South didn't want their possessions or their chattel to not be counted for nothing, because then it would mess up the economics and the voting for the population. So they came up with the 3/5. Every five African Americans, what they call it today, because like I said in the other lecture, African American isn't a nationality, neither is Black, Negro, or colored. Every five African Americans would count as as 3 people, right? So you would count 5, and then that would be 3. You would count up to 10, and that would be 6, right? That's where you get the 3/5 compromise from. And I mean, it influenced the state powers a little bit and such, but and that same 3/5 compromise is still enacted today. Because if you're a person of color, hey, we don't want to tell you, but you don't count as one person. Your vote, like when you go to your elections and your polls, you don't count as one person. Again, according to it's still in accordance to the 3/5 compromise. That's them trying to protect the service corporation because we're the majority, right? So they have to balance it out so they can still try and get a stronghold without, you know what I'm saying? It's not really fair representation, but it's their way of keeping their foot on the neck, right? That's within the service corporation. It's not like that within the other nation of the entire landmass, right? And that's how the present day government was built on today, and how it came to be to the revolving door they've got now, where in the revolving door, if you're a congressman and you do a favor for a lobbyist or a pharmaceutical company, then when you're 10 years over, hey, we somehow have a position for you in our company when your election term is over. That's part of the revolving door. Lobbyists, politicians, and lawmakers, they work in confluence like a revolving door, and they all help each other out amongst corruption, to do their own injustice amongst society. And don't blame me for telling you this, right? I never went to college, but I'm teaching you the knowledge. So I'm about to get into how these governmental powers, what they're built on, and it must be known that juries or the people have the most power. The people being the ones who aren't in the seats, right? Like in a trial, the jury has more power than the judge. Indeed, you know what I'm saying? A trial, the jury or the jurors, they have an unreviewable, you know what I'm saying, and irreversible power to acquit and disregard the instructions of the judge. If something is in the instructions of the law by a trial judge, you could look at U.S. versus Doherty 473, right? That's another case you could take a look at. Like when governments and judges, when they violate laws and ethics, the people could pull back power in honor and allegiance, you know what I'm saying? And judges take an oath, so when they violate the oath, then or when they partake in corruption and stuff, then certain enactments and stuff, and people can take certain actions to do as they see fit, right? But getting into these legislative powers, it consists of the House of Representatives, the Senate, you know what I'm saying, the election of Congress members. There's also some strengths to it, and there's some checks and balances, right, with all branches of the government. But the House of Representatives is a census, you know what I'm saying? It's the first house of apportionment. They deal with like impeachments, you know what I'm saying? Officers of the House is what they call them. Really, it's just seats. Again, it's seats, you know what I'm saying? The Senate the Senate is like there's two senators for every state, pretty sure, and the vice president is kind of, I think it's kind of like the head of the Senate in a way. You might have to fact check that. But with the election of Congress members, the Assembly of Congress, so regulation of commerce, money naturalization and bankruptcy, and money corruption, basically, yeah, what you heard, patents, copyrights. Again, if you patent this pharmaceutical drug, I got a job sent for you when your tenure is over. That's how the revolving door works. You know what I'm saying? Even with waging war and stuff like that. But there are limitations to Congress. You know what I'm saying? You got writ, but there are certain limitations to Congress. Like they can't ask for favors from foreign entities. Only the president can act. Only the president can like sign treaties and stuff like that. And another even larger limitation is writ habeas corpus. Like if you no longer wanted to be a part of the if you wanted to be treated as a sovereign being, and if you wanted to be counted as the full 5/5 and not the 3/4, you would fill out a writ of habeas corpus, and through the law, you know what I'm saying, you would that's how you report, you know what I'm saying, unlawful detention. Like when you detain somebody, when you have when you have an alien and you detain them, one person, if they wanted to be free, they would fill out a writ of habeas corpus, send that to the courts and say, hey, I'm no longer a prisoner of the service corporation, or some other prisoners would fill out a writ of habeas corpus and say, this is like, you know what I'm saying, they'd be like, hold on, that like unfair trial, and like if you were sending your child, like if you were sending a cell for 7 months off of a statement, you know what I'm saying, free Rashad Jamal, and all you did was make a statement and you ain't really do nothing, you could fill out a writ of habeas corpus and say this is unlawful detainment, you know what I'm saying? And the custodian of that person would have to follow suit with the legalities of that and stuff. But that's for Congress, because Congress is the residing power of federal control. And with like the Federalism Papers, I think it's like 51C or something like that, and that's because federalism is different from state and local powers, which again, I'm a history, law, and science is what we're gonna uncover a lot of, because that's what people live by. Is everywhere you see is science if you think about it, you know what I'm saying? But limitations to individual states is like individual states can't make treaties with foreigners, right? Or I should say individual territories can't make treaties, right? Because they're not the foreign, that would have to go through different houses to pass said treaty or a bill, right? They also can't coin money. There's mints and there's reserves. There's a mint in Philadelphia. Excuse me, because that's where the original capital was. The original capital was in Philadelphia. Before it was District of Columbia, right? There's 67. I think there's like 67 total national landmarks in Philadelphia, because that was the original capital of the 13 colonies. And the Liberty Bell that's cracked it's the Aboriginals. It's cracked because the Aboriginals are lost at sea. That's why the Liberty Bell is cracked. And you could look up Hakeem Bey's lecture. He covers that too. Hakeem Bey, he really be going deep into it, like beyond. It's a whole nine that has to be discovered, right? But also, individual states can't do any bills of attainder to try and, I'm saying, different checks and balances with powers that be and stuff. And then after That's the legislative powers, and then would go to, or the second, which I believe, and I think a lot of people believe this as well. The executive branch has the least amount of powers out of the all three of them. The executive branch would have the least amount of power because it's really one is it's the White House, right? And it's like one person. Really, with Joe Biden, he's a face card. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes he can't even form a full sentence. Like he's supposed to be running a nation full of like like hundreds of millions or something. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of some questions, right? But again, the executive powers or the White House is controlled by the Foreign Council Relations, founded by David Rockefeller. Y'all going, it's going to be a prevalent thing, seeking the truth. You know what I'm saying? Nothing new under the sun. God, Master, the Day of Judgment, right? Nothing new under the sun. All presidents, all presidents, because they take an oath, right? They put their hand over the Bible and everything. They take an oath, and really, they tell you it's the Bible, but it's really books that they hide in the Vatican. They hide books in the Vatican libraries of our knowledge that we already possess, but some people aren't aware to it consciously because they've been adjudicated through programming centers. They take the books and all the sacred knowledge that they hide within the Vatican, and that's where you see them. That's where you see them put their hand over it and start giving their oath, right? I mean, you might be asking, okay, how do you know this? It's a lot that has to be uncovered, right? And you have to connect the dots for yourself, because living in a world full of oblivion is not going to help you when Armageddon comes, right? And that's not to induce any fear mongering, or that's not to, I'm saying, because they're the ones that's inducing the fear mongering. They're the ones that's creating the order out of chaos. That's literally what it says on the U.S. dollar. It says, you probably got one. You could look under the Great Seal. It'll say something like Corpus Secrum or something like that. It says order out of chaos. It's Latin for order out of chaos. And in all actuality, the Moors are the ones who created the Latin language. They brought Latin into Europe. But yeah, the executive powers, they could sign treaties, kind of like what Trump did with China, and the embargoes or different. I guess he could also not sign treaties, and you could reenact different ones from like a previous term, or you could depart from treaties that was already enacted. That's kind of like, I guess, the executive powers. They don't really got much to them, but nonetheless, it's still the head of the military branch. That's the chief. I think it's like the chief commander is what they call it. And then after the executive powers, you would have judicial powers. This is where you got like your judges, your courts, your district courts, court of appeals, and really, they low key, you have to go through the courts to do legal actions, right? But because my friend, he was doing this name change thing, right? And usually you would set a court hearing for your name change and everything. So go appear before a judge. Always never say your honor, always say my honor. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing a lot of people don't know. Always say my honor, never say, hey, your honor, right? Because it would be my honor to present myself, make a special appearance and present myself in front of the courts. Because if you go to a court, you would fill out a special appearance and say, hey, I'm appearing this day, that day. If you want to do it legally the correct way, right? Because they be trying to get one over on you if you don't know the legalities and the whole. I don't even know everything, but I know some stuff. Okay, every day people can learn more than what they had learned yesterday, and seek to incline of the trajectory of their paradigm, right? But yeah, your judges and everything, they would, but like a lot of the Supreme judges and everything, they serve lifetime sentences for their seat and everything. Like I think Thurgood Marshall, he is still on the board. But all judges must have, I'm saying, they must have like good behavior and stuff and standing to stay, I'm saying, in their office and maintain their position, right? But jurisdiction over federal courts, that's what people would call Supreme Courts. That's a jurisdiction over it. You know what I'm saying? That means it's presiding over it, and those the courts, obviously, you guys know, courts is where people hold their trials. It ranges from like civil cases all the way up to federal cases and like terrorism, which is unfortunately getting more and more prevalent within the society of the United States territories. Seeing different massacres and acts and different basically shootings and stuff, people destroying other people's stuff. Like, for what, bro? Come on now. And I mean, I don't really judge people, but you should never be in stance to go and shoot somebody, right? I mean, you could defend yourself, most definitely, right? You know what I'm saying? If that dude taking shots at you, I mean, you could blow him down all day if you want, right? Or someone come on your land, like, say you got 16 acres or something, and the dude going past, like, the 8th acre, and you telling him to stop or something, shit, you might, you know what I'm saying, you might have that 50 cal on deck, you might take his leg off, but that's not literally what I'm talking about in the broader scenario. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's like concealed carry, and you got the Second Amendment too. But the first, actually, a lot of people might not know this, but I think I said this earlier, but the 10 Bill of Rights was created for people to have their own individual rights and for their own sanctuary and everything to protect their domicile and where they stay. But yeah, your judges, those are often sometimes the people that take well, not every judge is like this, because I know not every judge is like this, it wouldn't be fair, but it's been uncovered in different cases. Some of them, some files are still redacted, that judges would take bribes to pass a certain hearing, or in a video game. In a video game, you would have a mission where, hey, you would get your mission on your mission log. It would say, kill this judge before he makes it to the courthouse. A legit mission of a realistic game like GTA. If that's not telling you something, I don't know what is, right? And some of these laws and different political issues can really determine the whole trajectory of where society could be headed, like Roe v. Wade. You know what I'm saying? In the 70s, it was passed, but just recently it was overturned. Now I'm not saying if it's good or a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? People, I feel like people could lead their own lives, but I guess that decision ain't really left up to me. So, in a sense, would I change? I mean, like I said, people could lead their own lives, whatever. But at the same, on the other side of the coin, same token, other side of the coin, I think it shouldn't really be abused. You know what I'm saying? Like getting 3 abortions within a span of a month and a half probably isn't healthy. You know what I'm saying? Aside from all of that, that's kind of the gist of how the politicians operate. Cause to understand, cause in the last video, or in a few videos prior, I was talking about the AI, the metal chip, and the AI, and them passing that drone in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. Oh shit, that Silicon Valley drone. Again, that's politicians, and that's state and local powers passing a bill for their own area to do whatever, to try and do what they want with their agenda. And that's, I mean, it's kind of concerning, seeing as how DeWine said he's trying to turn Columbus into a Silicon Valley. I mean, I think he said that somewhere around here in one of the articles and stuff, like when he got reelected. And it's funny because the person who inaugurated him into office was actually his son, right? So don't you see how that could be kind of not as much justice as could be served, right? Like your own. It's kind of it raises questions. I'm saying it raises questions, and that's not to say that you don't got people's interests at hand, but on the same side of the coin, or on the other side of the coin, same token, you got to look at the policies and what because policies is what politicians operate off of, right? And that's ultimately how people would want to decide where they want to live, or what city, what state they would choose to live in. Because Florida has no federal income tax, but little do people know, paying federal taxes is voluntary. Paying federal taxes is voluntary. You might be saying, bro, dude, you sound crazy. But there's a lot like, just like you just watched this video, there's a lot that people don't know. Okay. And if y'all want the sauce on, because I know a lot of people want to save the money on their paycheck, right? You be looking at your paycheck, you see the gross pay, it'd be looking kind of right when you see the gross pay. You look at the net pay, it's a third of what the gross pay was. You know what I'm saying? So you want to save that money on your federal taxes, right? Yeah, of course I could drop the lecture on that and stuff. But these lectures, it take time, energy to shoot the vids, clip them, I'm saying edit them, export them. That'd be taking the longest. This last video out, it's 3 days to export it and stuff. But I could drop the lecture on that because I know people want to save money. we all want to help each other. You know what I'm saying? I definitely could use an extra 600 whatever amount on every 2 weeks, right? But you already got my opinion. Money shouldn't be the influencer of how you maneuver in your life and everything. There's different side hustles you could do to put your own self on and stuff. But you know what I'm saying? But right. I could get into that in another lecture, but that's definitely gonna need to take the help of you guys to help me help you guys. You know what I'm saying? Cause I was looking at my video log and everything, bro. 20 views, 30 views, bro. It only like 5 likes. There's more of us out there, right? Let's all help each other. You know what I'm saying? And I was looking at the sub count too. There's only like a few of us, right? But y'all coming back to watch the videos. But there's only a few of us sub. You know what I'm saying? We definitely can help each other in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Help me, help you. You know what I'm saying? If we get to look, this is a deal. Right? I'm gonna save y'all money. If y'all do something you're already gonna do is to come back and watch the video, right? And save y'all money every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? When April come around, you won't have to give Uncle Sam none of your. You won't have to give him none of your bread if that's if you don't want to, but you gotta help yourself first. You know what I'm saying? 15 subs and 15 likes on this video. 15 subs on the account, 15 likes on this video. I'm gonna drop the lecture on the paying federal taxes or voluntary federal taxes, because it's not mandatory, it's voluntary. But again, you have to know the legal definition of what income is, you know what I'm saying? Corporate activity, you know what I'm saying? Different. Because really, there's a definition. There's like Merriam-Webster's definitions, and then you got like Black's Law definitions. Black's Law 4th edition is what a lot of people, or a lot of the, this is what a lot of people base their hard fact off of, the Black's Law 4th definition dictionary. But yeah, for the most part, you know what I'm saying, it's we're all here to help one another, you know what I'm saying? And I enjoy making these lectures for us to watch, because I walk away learning something, getting better at, you know what I'm saying, orating and producing different content for the university and stuff. But it does take time, energy, and effort. It's funny because I was watching one of my old videos. It ran an ad, but I ain't even really see no money from it. But I probably got to set up some stuff with PayPal just to be able to, and even PayPal itself, I mean, that's easy to set up, you know what I'm saying? But then again, it's all for the long-term goal in mind, so I ain't really tripping on it. But yeah, for the most part, y'all, that was the groundwork of how the Service Corporation, United States Service Corporation of America, operate, so you guys can learn how to maneuver for your own sovereignty, right? And because the government represents you, you don't represent the government, right? The government is supposed to represent the people. That's why you have the ability to writ habeas corpus or to overturn the government. Like you saw the Capitol riot. It was basically the people going into their own house. I know there's a lot of controversy behind that, but that's the way I seen it. You know what I'm saying? It's public people walking into a public building. Of course, there should have never been people with ARs over there and stuff. But hey, they gonna let it ring if they want to. So yeah, but I mean, RIP to the. I think there's a few people that lost their life. RIP to them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, for the most part though, y'all. I hope y'all liked it. Shit. I know y'all like this one, because you before you watch this lecture, I mean, there's a lot of information that people might not have been aware to, like the Sultan of Morocco, and was in present day America, and George Washington had to actually write letters to him and ask him for aid and to get money so they could be recognized as a their own state to be able to trade and barter with the Moors west of the territory, west of the 13 territories. But yeah, for the most part, y'all, I mean, that's going to sum it up, you know what I'm saying? Please, comment any lectures you guys might want to see in the future. I had to go on making this one, you know what I'm saying, more insight. And you know what I'm saying, we rise, you know what I'm saying? We're all one, peace to all. Yeah, I'll leave guys, I come.